Time for some more fly tying tips. I tend to buy my lead eyes by the pound. You know, you get about 1,000 in a pound. Now, I don't need 1,000 red eyes or 1,000 white eyes or 1,000 green chartreuse eyes. I need, different colors for different situations. And I don't particularly feel like buying 3,000 or 4,000 lead eyes of the same size just to get that. I've always tended to paint all my lead eyes. For years and years I used the Wapsi lacquer that's available and still available. But the fluorescent colors are no longer available. And so I had to go out and search for an alternative. What I found is if you want to paint a bunch of these eyes really quickly, a fast way is to buy yourself a simple wide tooth comb. You can slide the individual eyes by the pile. This comb is enough to hold 50 to 60 eyes. Now this size comb won't hold the mini eyes, but it will hold the small and extra small, which is what I use the most of anyway. Now I tend to use spray paint from Rust-Oleum. They have a really nice safety colors. There's a fluorescent red. There's a safety green, which is close to chartreuse. There's a safety yellow. I kind of like that amber yellow rather than a bright yellow. And then I always start out by priming all my eyes with an Ace Hardware primer. It's white instead of gray. So many primers are gray. This one is pretty good. It is flat, however. It is not a gloss. If you want to go back over eyes with a glossy white, I haven't found one that I use, but I'm okay with this flat finish. Now, it takes at least 2 coats of the primer and at least 2 coats of the top coat color. If you do it less than that, you're going to end up missing a few spots. I have made a 2x4 block that this actually sets down inside of. I just cut it like a dado right down the piece of wood, and this sits down inside for drying. But I just put a rubber glove on and hold it to spray paint it so I can, twist in angles and I can get both sides pretty easily. That's ultimately the easiest way for me to paint a lot of eyes in a hurry. Now that still doesn't dot your pupil. That, I'm afraid, you go back to using the black lacquer paint. And then I've got a bunch of these little fiberglass rod pieces. These are from Broken Tips on Rods. You could just as easily make this out of a piece of coat hanger wire. I do have a couple of different sizes because I'll paint eyes down to the mini size, and this will be a little bit too much of a pupil for a mini. But this is just a simple dip and dot. Now I tend to tie the painted eyes onto the fly before I actually go through and dot the pupils. It just makes it easier. You can hold a whole fly a lot easier than you can hold an individual pupil. However, if you do feel like it, you could paint them right on this after you were done doing the undercoating. This is just a really simple means by which to paint a heck of a lot of eyes. Now, top coating, if you want that good shine, Sally Hansen's Diamond Shine or Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails, you know, to put a quick gloss on them. It actually ends up helping to protect the color so it doesn't chip off if you bump it into rocks or toss it into trees. Another really good one that I've always used is Loon Hardhead. This is a water-based polyester. Be sure and shake the whiz out of this stuff before you use it. It's got a brush built into the jar, which is really nice. Much like a applicator for like the Sally Hansen's. But then you get a nice clear glossy top coat. Of course, the obvious way is to epoxy all your flies. Sometimes I have time for that. For my own flies, I really like the added protection of the epoxy and holding the fly together. But that's just a real quick and easy way that I've come up with to paint a heck of a lot of eyes, because I'll go through 50 a night.